We begin our episode with White Tiger continuing her hunt upon the robbers from last episode, as we get a montage of her agility and strength being put into work, besting the robbers as she hears a powerful voice in her head, but ignores it. No, I was told how cruel you are. I am not listening to you. As we see a robber helping a knocked out partner of theirs, with them saying, "You crazy lady! I'm working for the Black Hand because I have no choice. I'm not like Mr. Fish or..." Ava backhands him, knocking him out cold, as she looks to her hand, with her saying to herself, "That was not me." She hears police sirens and escapes from their view, as she decides to call it for the night, but thinks to herself, "So, the Black Hand is still around, and they have someone called Mr. Fish? I gotta check it out tomorrow." Hopefully Hermano is still asleep. Meanwhile, we see the very few robbers that escaped Ava's claws reach a closed-off dock. Heading in the bay, they hear a gun cock, and they see behind them a guy wearing copper armor all over his body, with one of them questioning to another, Is that Copperhead? As Copperhead, played by Andy McQueen, reveals himself, along with a giant urn and a couple of money bags ripped. Such a simple task. All you idiots had to do was steal a bit of money while I scored the big stuff at the museum. How are there so few of you? But sir, we did everything we could. I mean, what happened was Copperhead cut the robber off by making a whistle as the water erupts, where we see Mr. Fish, played by John Michael Higgins, land behind him. You boys better quit yapping. General's gonna want to hear this. The robbers comply as they head onto a ship labeled El Tigre, where we hear a strange bludgeoning noise constantly, making a rhythm. Until we hear the sizzling of some bacon, as it's morning with Hector making some waffles and bacon, with Ava clearly exhausted from last night, just waking up. She checks her phone, seeing it's 7:30 a.m. As she exits her room, noticing the amulet still on her. She quickly takes it off, just in the nick of time. "Ava, you up?" See, I'm up. I'm good. I'm awake." As she heads to the bathroom to brush her teeth and wash herself up. "Okay then. I just want to say thank you for listening to me last night. I'm really sorry for keeping that all hidden away from you." Ava finishes up and exits and gives her brother a good hug. "Come on, hermano. We're family. We support each other in any way we can. I'm just glad you got that out of your chest." Hector chuckles, agreeing with her as a small fire begins at the bacon, with him also getting a phone call at the same time. He manages to put out the fire, but gets called into work, saying that there was a break-in at the local museum. "You sent me the location?" "Got it. I'll be there at 20. He gives his sister a kiss on the head and apologizes for leaving so soon, saying he's got work. "Excuses," she says, with him laughing at the exaggeration. "Seriously though, one day you're gonna have a day off." "A good one. I'll be home late tonight, but I'll bring something for us to cook so we don't do takeout. Adios, hermano. Te quiero. Yo también te amo. Bye, bro." With him shutting the door, she heads to his room, finding and opening up his laptop to search for information on a private tab. It takes her a couple hours, but she manages to find something about a person named Mortimer Norris being found dead 2 weeks after the Golden Awakening. Let's see. Says that he was found dead floating by the Hudson River with strange holes and a caved-in head. Blah, 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 blah. Backstory of alleged crimes he was accused of. Suspicious of him working for the Magia or Black Hand. Has a brother named William Norris that vanished after his brother's death. No photo of him exists. Wait. When the Golden Awakening occurred, the Norris brothers were last seen by a river where a mysterious Mr. Fish was said to be at. This dock was later closed off due to... As she mumbles the last bit of that information, she closes the tab and decides to go out and head out to the dock, seeing that it's already 5 p.m. Arriving at the dock, she actually is able to find the boat. El Tigre? I can't even tell if this is a trap or if they were just that obsessed with my brother. Grabbing the amulet, she hears the powerful voice again, telling it to shut up as she puts it on, becoming the white tiger once again. She searches around the area to make sure there was no one sneaking about. She hears a can be kicked, and creeping up by the corner, Esto es... Oye, ¿todos bien contigo? Sí, todo está bien. I'm gonna be home more late than I thought. This case has some connections with another and... Well, let's just say it's a big one. Some doofus took an ancient urn and a couple small gems. Regardless, just needed to tell you to order something tonight. I'm so sorry. Aya tells him it's alright, as footsteps can be heard slowly approaching her, as she tells him that she's gonna order and take a nap. Hanging up, as she barely dodges a knife thrown at her, but a gunshot hits her twice in the back, with her hurrying to hide, behind a wooden stand as Copperhead continues firing shots at her. Get the lass. I got better things to do. Mr. Fish will help you boys soon enough. We see the robbers from last night, with guns and maces in hand, approach the stand White Tiger was hiding behind, with them having some cleared bruises and cuts. But she surprises all of them by lunging at Copperhead, having switched to another stand when he wasn't paying attention, as she kicks and claws at him, with his copper luckily protecting him as he and her get into a small scuffle. She manages to smack the gun out of his hand, with them having to throw punches and kicks at one another. But before it could take too long, the other members join in, combating against her as Copperhead manages to escape. We gotta finish her, boys, or else Copperhead and Mr. Fish are gonna hurt us however General wants. Eventually, White Tiger beats all but one, chuckling, saying that they shouldn't be scared of someone called Copperhead, or especially Mr. Fish. As she finishes her chuckle, she sheathes her claws. Mr. Fish ascends from the river and clocking her right in the face, sending her through two of the wooden stands, and charges at her. Nobody laughs at Mr. Fish, as he and White Tiger get into a brutal battle, where her scratches aren't doing anything at all against him, and he uses the river to his advantage, baiting and sending her onto a crooked wooden bridge, as he leaps into and out of the water to land Sheep's hit on her. Eventually, she is able to grab his wrist and throw him right through the bridge, breaking many planks as he escapes into a river. With that breather, she believes that with that taken care of, she can explore El Tigre, but the boat starts up and takes off, as she runs, gaining enough momentum to leap to the side of the ship. But as she starts climbing up, she hears something charge up, seeing the gun right at her face, as she smacks it out of instinct to the side. But a giant puff of gas was shot out, as she barely dodges it, swimming back. However, she looks down to see a giant abyss under her, confusing her, as two eyes glow bright green rush right towards her as she erupts to the surface. Looking back, though, she realizes she was at the shore, and tries shaking off whatever effect that gas had on. After taking a breather, she remembers Copperhead is still on the loose, and gets up to go after him. At one of Brox's museums, we see Hector talking to an officer friend of his who just arrived at the place, calling out his name. If it isn't the madman himself, the human fly, Rick Rojat. Oh, it's so good to see you, bud. The character is revealed to be Rick Rojat, otherwise known as Human Fly, played by Evan Jogi, as the two share a hug and chat. And I mean, just a blink and you miss it kind of moment. That white blur of whoever was, according to Manilow, another new vigilante, making me think of the old days. Yeah, that probably was a mutant, since lots of them seem to be becoming vigilantes or turn to crime ever since the Golden Awakening. Especially after Mr. Fierce Small ran along with that 3-year period from the blip. Personally, I don't understand why they keep getting hated on for just being simple people. I mean, those damn muties are just so much more different than us regular folks, though. But moving on from that and onto the case, this gotta be a deep one. If I got called up all the way from Manhattan to come here. I don't mind, of course, but you know. You did say a similar incident happened recently at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, since someone stole a giant urn there too and found a dead security guard there as well. Yeah, dude's name was like Willie, I think. I don't know, I wasn't on the case. But they turn around to see Copperhead break out of a window with a decently sized silver urn in his arm as he fires shots at the two, with them ducking behind the cars. Ah, carajo! Dude, there's no way. That's Copperhead. ¿Quién? A guy I fought before when I was Human Fly, and his descriptions match the one from the Met. What's his deal with the urns? I got no clue, but we gotta get him or else that'll be the third urn this week. As they trade gunshots, White Tiger rushes at Copperhead, tackling him from seemingly out of nowhere as the two throw hands, where she gives him a beating, involving many roundhouse kicks, side kicks, axe kicks, palm strikes, and many more, as his copper armor is torn and dent, with him falling on his knees, looking right up at her. I thought White Tiger wasn't a White Tiger strikes his face with her claws, knocking him out as she flees from the scene. Dude, that was totally the white blur Officer Mantlo told us about. I can't believe they're helping us with the case. Hector doesn't respond for a bit, and tells Rick that after getting Copperhead locked up, he's gonna have to head home. Later at the apartment, Ava attempts to stitch herself up, but it's going poorly. Looking at herself in the mirror, she notices the amulet is faintly glowing, which causes her to remember that it has healing properties. She places it on top of her wounds, which heals them rapidly, and the ones from Mr. Fish and earlier that day show to be taking way longer. Eventually, her brother bursts into the apartment as she's eating some chicken that she ordered, with him closing the door slowly and trying to calm himself down. There he is. Welcome home, bro. How did the... Oh, good. Besides the fact you put yourself in danger and basically didn't even heed my warnings. I mean, becoming a vigilante is one thing, but becoming the White Tiger? You're not insane, sis. What were you thinking? What do you mean? I've just been home looking up jobs to take, and carajo, Eva. I was there when you took down Copperhead. I saw the whole fight. Can't lie and say you didn't completely kick his butt, but that's not the important thing. Okay, fine, I admit. I did use the amulet. But I saw the positive you did for the city, and thought I could do it since you're sick of it, from your past. Plus, New York lost not only one, but 3 of their best vigilantes. You, Daredevil, no one knows where the hell Spider-Man is. The Avengers are basically gone. And with all the chaos that's been happening in our world, I thought I could just make a difference and help. The two would continue to argue, making points on how Hector had her mindset when he was young, and it cost them their family. While she argues that although that may be true, their sister still helped him when he told her about being White Tiger, and didn't think of him differently after she passed, and that they nearly took down the Black Hand back then, revealing to him that the Black Hand is still in the Bronx, and she fought some of the guys there, with Copperhead being a part of the gang. As the argument boils up, Hector gets so mad that he storms into his room, slamming the door as Ava is left there in the living room, out of breath from the argument, looking at the amulet of powers as it becomes the face of a skull and chomps at her, frightening her. Diablo. The amulet doesn't do that. What the hell is going on today? That night, Mr. Fish arrives from the water, aboarding El Tigre, with many Black Hand gang members saluting with a clenched fist as he enters the captain's room. We see a mace on the table as the boss speaks with Mr. Fish. So, the White Tiger had a daughter or something, is what I've been hearing. Well-trained soldiers and thugs get bullied by her. Copperhead gets humiliated in public, and you get bested by the girl, even with the water being on your side. How pathetic are you all? The General, I can... You know who I am. You know you should fear me, William Norris. I killed your traitorous brother, after all, and let you live because no one ever crosses Gideon Mace. As the leader, no, general, of the Black Hand, is revealed to be Gideon Mace, played by Aaron Eckhart. I mean, I've given so much for you guys, and this is my thanks? delaying my plans to take over New York. Hell, I thought teaming up with that Mr. Fright guy was going to help, but he gets a singular kill on a superhero. Big whoop! Now traumatizing and destroying a hero's life? Now that is true fear. Mr. Fish is silent, standing tall but head down, with no call to be at ease. The only person who could even do something to that wench was Mr. Smartygaff, and you are trained killers. So what is the explanation for failing, huh? I failed you, sir. I will complete my mission and will follow your orders, sir. Good. Because you're going to need some high-tech help with how useless a mutant like you has proven to be. Bring in Chemistro. As he enters, we see Chemistro, played by Brian Tyree Henry, enter the room. Yes, General, you called? Chemistro, you've proven yourself to be on the field. Copperhead is a natural killer and he was embarrassed by the White Tiger. I need you and Mr. Fish to make her fear me. To make her fear the Black Hand, as he slams his mace for a hand down at this very sturdy desk he has made. Of course, General. Do you have a plan? Brilliance truly is your gift. I do indeed have a plan. I need you to use the leftover fear gas on White Tiger and destroy her psychologically and physically to make sure she knows to not follow the previous White Tiger's track. Or else, as he picks up another mace of his and throws it at a wall, showing Gideon Mace has a wall of many targets in mind, with Hector Ayala being the second biggest next to what appears to be military men, with many of them having X's drawn over the images. I'll have to make her suffer like I made the mutt suffer. As the episode ends, with the mace sticking onto the photo of young Hector Ayala, as Chemistro and Mr. Fish praise and excuse themselves out of the room, as the photo and the mace fall down, with the last noise of the episode being a giant thud.